famous words to everybody, right? That body you living out right now. That body is why you at the bus stop right now. You know what I'm saying? The scripture says, any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. They think the law is a small thing. Separate, man. You are separate from these other nations, man. That's right.
And I can't let no holder lie to me. I don't feel these rappers, all they lies is hypocrisy. Ain't no competition, ain't no rivalry. Niggas think I'm playing, I don't hear one word they saying. This shit light work. Think Muhammad one of us, he might lose his life first. Circle up and stay alert. Another cop just stretch the nigga. He ain't demon, it's an exorcism. Watch I bless the nigga. Took that oath in blood, do you know I'm gon' get active with ya? From the opposition, I see vision. Let me paint the picture. Rappers, can they spit? And I ain't listening. Is it fact? If revenge was a woman, now I stroke that bitch like Jagger. So how I walk, we gon' run the summer. It's gon' be historical. Thought they making plays, made them niggas call an audible. Ask who run this shit, but that question is rhetorical. Bitch, I'm the one, me cookies with the oil. I'ma get them crackers, hell should've never kidnapped my family. I can't just do that, bet I be the last nigga standing. Do a life sentence for my niggas, pray you understand it. I might put a switch on this Glock and call it Young Baby. How you real trigger know them die? You a bird feeder, claiming he a demon. What's a demon to a cow leader? When he saying something, I ain't hear him. This shit light work. It ain't about who got this gun, it's about who gon' up that pipe first. I turn a bad situation to a game changer. Bring soldiers from the dead, just raise up the chain free. Shots, I'ma look like Aaron Jones when I run it. Never bite the hand and teeth, you will never get that hand back. He bitch about 10%, I don't wanna hear none of that. He dropping sword, fuck him, just make sure you get that cover back. Look around, he ain't with us, probably cause he never was. Now my chin like you with the angels for your brothers. Everybody wanna be Richard Porter, God kill him like Alpo. Play if he want, it's laying in the trunk like Lee Malvo. A certified woman's ass nigga, I am not a toy. Hey, I with that hollow side, yeah, this the rim accord. Feel like Gullah Jack when I'm in Fayetteville, you feel your boy. Still up on my brain, still I think that's all that I do. The way I get it, boy, lost, they gon' start to call him Elroy. Fuck his game, pop out on them demons like I'm Hellboy.
All right, Shalom, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Barakathum, Yahweh Shema Alatan Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, way back in 1969. And today, under Commanding General Yohana, we go throughout the earth spreading the truth of the Bible. That's what we teach. The truth of the Bible. And that truth is real simple. So-called black, so-called Hispanic, so-called Native American Indians are in fact the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The same Israel that Moses told Pharaoh, let my people go. Remember that? Christians told you that, let my people go? That's right. You're the same people, so-called black man and woman, so-called Native American man and woman, so-called Mexican man and woman, Puerto Ricans, Panamanians, Jamaicans, Haitians, all of y'all down there are Israelites. And your oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. I'm Officer 50 Mashah, sitting in today for Officer of 5000 Shawak for the history class. We're gonna take a different turn. A lot of times we want to go to read what was said, what was done, what was created, what was invented, and that's cool. That's cool. That's called empirical data. But I want you to take a look at today a little other empirical data. Then we're going to see what the Bible has to say about you. The title of the class for the day is Only One Way Out. Only one way out, black man, black woman. Only one way out. Hispanic man, Hispanic woman, Native American man, Native American woman. According to the Bible, you got one way out of hell that you're living in right now. Throughout the earth, you have only one way out. And you know, coming out of hell, you know what you should be looking for is the kingdom of heaven. But even in the New Testament, what did it say? Many ways lead to destruction, but straight and narrow is the way that leads to the kingdom. You got one way out. And what we want to start with, a little story, about 4 minutes of a story here. I want you to look at this because in this is the history class. We want to let you get a sense of what you up against. Then we're going to bring you some scriptures as well to prove what we're saying. We're going to show you your world right now, today, in the 2000s. You see this? Not just the year 2000, but this whole first first 2 decades of the 2000s. Let's show you you. We're going to show you you according to what they have out there. And this is historically accurate. This is going to be historically accurate. So y'all hold it right there, and I'll be with you. You're going to see this in just a second.
The report identified black identity extremists as a threat to law enforcement. Critics say the report is eerily similar to the FBI's 20th century counterintelligence program.
COINTELPRO was an FBI operation established in the 50s by J. Edgar Hoover to target African Americans who were fighting for justice and equality. He targeted Dr. King, he targeted Malcolm X, and over 80% of the targets of COINTELPRO were members of the Black Panther Party.
At the height of COINTELPRO, activists and community organizers were targeted. These include current Congressional Black Caucus members like John Lewis, Bobby Rush, Emmanuel Cleaver, and Barbara Lee.
The church committee in the mid-'70s held hearings and determined that many of the actions and activities of COINTELPRO were really unconstitutional.
What you described is a series of illegal actions intended squarely to deny First Amendment rights to some Americans. How shall we ensure that it never happen again?
One of the similarities that I see are that it's based on race. You know, COINTELPRO definitely targeted African Americans. Black identity extremists, which Attorney General Jeff Sessions has put out, targets African Americans. When it was brought to our attention, we immediately contacted the FBI director and had a very forthright meeting. I specifically asked him, how do they identify black identity extremists? Who are they? And there was no answer to that. We still don't know who's a black identity extremist.
A lot of activists around the country are very concerned that we're getting ready to repeat a very sad chapter of our history, where people who are rightfully protesting what they consider to be an injustice in their community, which is their relationship with police officers, are now being targeted and labeled as extremists and are going through periods of surveillance and harassment.
As a community worker, I attended many Black Panther Party functions. I was part of the breakfast program. We registered many people, the African American community and others, to vote. Well, the FBI during COINTELPRO would try to turn members of the Black Panther Party against each other. Agent provocateurs were placed within the party to try to sow dissent.
I was the coordinator of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party. In December 4th, 1969, Fred Hampton and Mark Clark, two members of the Black Panther Party, were murdered. And they put an informant, William O'Neill, planted him inside the Panther Party.
We can mourn today, but if we understood Fred, that we are dedicated, that his life wasn't given in vain.
The national director of the FBI said that the Black Panther Party was the #1 threat to national security of this nation. And that created the condition for law enforcement agents all across this nation to go after Panthers. That program that they did, in some sense, we ought to be thankful for, because that put in writing for everybody to see we're still in the eyes of so many, nothing but a bunch of work.
There you go, Israel. There you go. You saw it and you heard it. You heard it for yourself. Why did I show you that? Because it's a whole bunch of us out here who think we got answers and we want to try this, we want to try that. That was the one of the leaders, Bobby Rush. That was one of the leaders from the 1960s, so-called civil rights era movement, and so was the other sister at the beginning. And what they showed you was that this nation assassinated in their era every would-be organizer of black people, of Negroes, of African Americans. They sure didn't want that to spread over to the so-called Native Americans or to the so-called Mexican Americans. But the question you ought to ask yourself is, why were they even able to stop every movement of black folks in America? Why have they been able to stop every movement for freedom and equality here in America? And that whole piece on COINTELPRO, the FBI's counterintelligence operation program that was against all the leaders of the 60s and 70s. That was just talking about Fred Hampton and another brother that were killed. But they killed a lot. They killed Malcolm. They killed Martin. And guess what? We don't have any love lost with Malcolm or Martin. We tell you Martin sold you out, and he did. And when he got through selling you out, and he opened his eyes and see what was going on, he finally got out of his self and selfishness for a moment, you see, and he saw what was really going on. He said, I believe I've led my people into a burning building, and they shot him in the neck. Oh, and they're ruthless. You know, when they went after Malcolm, right? They used Jakes to kill Malcolm. They used other black people, so-called blacks, to kill Malcolm. But their hand was behind that. They sent what's my man from the early 1900s? I can see his face. Salakia. Marcus Garvey. They sent him out of here in chains and penniless. Penniless. And he came up with the Back to Africa movement. You see that? He came back with it. And guess what? Nothing has worked. Nothing in the history of us being here has worked to free us from this oppressor. Tonight we want to set the record straight and explain to you why. Because it's historical. The reason you haven't gone any further than what you've gone, and I'm 63, it's a bunch of folks still around way older than me, in our lifetimes and the lifetimes of our mothers and grandmothers and grandfathers, why you haven't gone any further than what you've gone? You should ask yourself that. Why you still have to get in 2022, have to march down the street talking about Black Lives Matter? There's a reason for that. And the reason is that there is only one way and only one way only out of this hell. It's only one way out. So, let's get you some scriptures. The first scripture I want to go to is Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. And I'm going to try not to go too fast, but I must remain aware of time. That's Deuteronomy 7, and we're going to go to verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. Now, this is Moses talking to the children of Israel after they've come out of Egypt. Okay? This is what the Most High told Moses to tell the children of Israel. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. Holy doesn't mean that spookism, woo, 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 all clean and all, no. Holy means simply you're a separated people. You're set apart. To be holy means you are separate. And the scripture tells us, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. That means we're separate, and we've been separated from rest of the world unto the Most High. In other words, he's chosen us to be his people, period. We've been set apart from everything we see out here to be his people. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. We are special unto the creator, ruler of everything, unto the Most High. Whatever is the greatest power in existence, the Most High, we have been set aside. Blacks, Hispanics, so-called Native Americans are in fact have been set aside as a special people unto him. How special? We got to keep reading. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We're going to read that again. Above all people, I still can't believe that. I'm going to read it one more time. Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Hold on. There's one, that right there is a major reveal in the flaw of Jake's, of our brothers' plans. Many of our brothers and sisters who are not in this truth. There's only one way out now. Here's a major flaw in your plan, you Christians, your civil rights leaders. Here's a major flaw in your plan. The Lord thy God has chosen thee, this is still Deuteronomy 7 and 6, to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. If the Most High has declared us, your brothers and sisters, so-called black, so-called Hispanic, so-called Native Americans, to be above all people that's upon the face of the earth, how dare you try to relegate us to being equal with those people? How dare you? That's a flaw. You are going against the Most High. The Most High never told us to be equal with these other people. You leaders of Israel who don't even know that you're Israel have dug a mighty deep ditch for our people with this so-called civil rights garbage. All you did was take away some semblance of us being ourselves. You took away examples of us looking to ourselves to find the Most High, to seeing ourselves as distinct and different from every other nation on the earth. You civil rights leaders, you preachers, you good Christians, you good Baptists, you good Methodists, you good Episcopalians, you've taken away from the people every sense of autonomy. We don't even have the slightest sense that we might be an individual people owing our allegiance to our own God. You've taken that away. Why? Because you have not taught this scripture in the Christian church. Let me read it again. Deuteronomy 7 and 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. That's who you belong to, black man and woman. So-called Native American man and woman. So-called Mexican man and woman, Latina, Latino, woman and man. That's who you belong to. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. You up here trying to be politically correct. You don't have to be politically correct because you belong to the Most High and he don't give a damn about these kingdoms' politics. You better go read Daniel and see where he beheld until all the thrones was cast down. Oh, they're going to get, these governments mean nothing to the Most High. These governments mean nothing to the Most High. And here you are out here, silly black Christians, silly Latino Christians, silly Native American Christians. Here you are out here trying to be equal with somebody who you act like you don't even know who they are. Well, we're going to show you in the Bible who these people are. That came up with this COINTELPRO, that killed all your leaders, that crushed every movement, that declared you to be the biggest problem, national security threat. And now today, this was actually put out back in 2017, over 5 years ago, and they going hard at it. What? Extreme race extremists, black race extremists are the most, the biggest threat to America. It's nothing but COINTELPRO all over again. So, I'm trying to warn you, the same thing that happened, if you're not in this truth, if you're outside these laws, statutes, and commandments, if you are not under Commanding General Yohana in this ISUPK, you subject to suffer just like them brothers in the 60s and 70s suffered. You only got one way out. You can get all your online social media groups together. You can do that. And it's going to seem like you're doing good. You can get, look here, all your church program, Christian programs together, and it's going to seem like for a minute you're doing good. You can get all your heavy blackety-black programs together. You can get all your intelligentsia programs coming out of the school. Get all that together and throw them in place. But let me tell you, they all are doomed to fail just like the civil rights movement failed. Listen, you belong to the Most High. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. You get my point. You get my point. You've been chosen. Now, you can be mad at me if you want to. I really don't care. You can be mad at the ISUPK. We really don't care. We're going to keep telling you this truth every time one of us anywhere gets on the air, get a public speaking platform. We're going to tell you what? So-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans are in fact the lost sheep of the house of Israel. They're lost, you know why? Because they don't know who they are. We know. We are the priests and prophets of the Most High, the only priests and prophets of the Most High. We are aligned with no other Israelite group. We do not affiliate ourselves with them. We are the home of the truth. And it's been that place since 1969. We are the original home of the truth. It's only one. We're going to show you through these scriptures. And we're telling you that the civil rights did you a disservice, and it didn't work because there's only one way out. You already know now that you are holy people, that means to be separate, and that you are special people unto the Lord your God, the black God, the nigger God. You understand? You are a holy people unto the nigger God, set apart and set aside by the nigger God. And you are above all people on the face of the earth according to the nigger God and what he sent us here. Now, there are conditions that come with him being your God. See that? Go with me to Deuteronomy 28. That's where we're going. Deuteronomy 28. We're going to go to the first verse. You ready? Deuteronomy 28 and 1. And it shall come to pass. Let's say, when it say, and it shall come to pass, that means you can bet your bottom dollar on it. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. If, that's a two-letter word that should make you just pay attention. Because what? If denotes that this is not no, what they call that? Love without circumstances. What do they call it? It's something they say that they into somebody no matter how this person turn out, you into them. What they call that? Yeah. Somebody hit me in the chat room on that. But anyway, so come to pass. But this is conditions. If, that means conditions are set. If, that means, look, something must happen. If thou shalt hearken, that means listen diligently, that means closely, unto the voice of the Lord thy God, who? The Lord thy God, all caps, Lord, the Most High, to observe, that means look at him, pay attention, study him, and to do all his commandments. And to do means to obey them. All what? His commandments. If we do that, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all the nations of the earth. Now watch this. That right there is the motive for the other nations to try to trick you into disobeying God. See, what that condition sets, that if you obey the Most High, if you are careful to obey all his laws and statutes, then he will interject and intervene with the other nations on this earth so that they understand you are over and above them. If you do that, if you remain separate unto yourself, let your culture be your culture, as set by these laws, statutes, and commandments, if you do that, and leave all the other nonsense of the other nations alone, if you remain separate. How? By diligently, by closely listening to, paying attention to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, and thereby keeping them. And keeping them. What will happen? The Most High told Israel 3,500 years ago that if they did that, that thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. Now let's go down to verse 15. Because you have to make this contrast. You got to see and recognize the contrast for yourself. This is Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. But, that's after reading everything that comes before this, I need you to hold your thinking up. Because here's a caveat. Things about to change. But it shall come to pass. You can count on it. You can count on it. It shall come to pass if condition, the condition is set again right here. We're setting conditions. If thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. This sounds like the opposite. This sounds like the opposite of verse 1. And it is. Up there it says, if you listen, you're going to be on top. The Most High is going to make you on top of every nation in the earth. This say, if you don't listen unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments. Okay, if you're not going to do his commandments, if you're not going to learn and study them, you're not going to do all his commandments and statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. I don't care what soothsayer you grew up listening to. An astrologist, a numbers reader, a tarot card reader. I don't care. Look at here. And I don't care all of those who don't believe. These curses are in fact that. Curses. You are cursed, black man and woman, Native American man and woman, Latina, Latino. You are cursed. And I don't care how much crazy ass voodoo y'all get off into. That's not going to help you. That's why your social groups you putting together and these great things you want to accomplish now as black people, as Latino people, you're still going to be in the worst of both down, is because that's not the way to do it. You only got one way out. That you cannot get out of this hell using social strategies, using political strategies, using military strategies, psychological strategies. You cannot get out of this hell. It's going to continue to get progressively worse. You understand? And now that you're here, I hope you understand it's verse 15 right here, Deuteronomy 28 and 15, that is letting you know why blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, for the most part, live in such dire straits in America. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. That's what you're existing. And you got from verse 16 through verse 68 talking about nothing but curses. 16 through 68, that's 52 verses of curses. 52 verses of curses. And while you say you believe in astrology, you believe that a Taurus with a Scorpio rising is so full of this or that, right? You'll believe in that nonsense, but you won't believe what the Bible says. Oh, I ain't gonna claim that curse mess. The Bible said you cursed. You think the Most High care what you claim or don't claim? You run around here talking about what sign is she, what sign is he. You believe that garbage, but you won't believe what we're reading from the Bible. They told me don't cuss, so I'm not going to call you a dumb A. You know, I'm not going to do it, but you're real stupid. You're real stupid. If you believe in tarot cards, if you believe in horoscopes and all that nonsense, but you won't believe the Bible, it's something mighty, mighty wrong with you, and I wish you the best. That's not the way, by the way. That's not a way that's helped you in all the years that nonsense been going on. You ain't got out. Let's talk politics. Hold on. Before we go any further, let me show you that I'm right, that it's in the Bible, that you won't get unless you go a certain way. And I'm going to show you in the Old Testament. You've already been told that if you follow the law, statute, and commandments of the Most High, you're going to be placed above every nation on the face of the earth. However, if you don't follow the law, statute, and commandments of the Most High, guess what? All these curses are going to follow you. And some of them say you're going to be on the bottom of all the nations on the face of the earth. And I'm paraphrasing. But so much stuff going to happen to you, that's where you're going to end up. See that? You're on the bottom. The stranger that's within your neighborhood is going to get very high while you get very low. He's going to be your lender and you're going to be his borrower. You see that? He's going to be the head and you're going to be the tail. And all them crazy Christian, how can I put it? How can I put it without just being too soft on them? You know, the Christian church, that is a factory where whores are made. Whores are made. You see. And that's what's going on over there. Why? Because they tell you that you don't have to keep the law, statute, commandments of the Most High. But the scriptures say, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 45. Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. Watch this. Verse 46 say, and they shall be upon you for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, which means a mighty long time, until you get right with the Most High. What you see is what you're going to keep on getting, Israel. Black man, black woman, Native American man, Native American woman, Latino man, Latina woman, until you come into this truth. This is what you get. Period. And here's the icing on the cake. Verse 28, chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again. Y'all heard that breakdown. Egypt is a Greek word for bondage, meaning the Lord shall bring Israel into bondage again with ships. Israel, when they left Egypt, they was only an 11-day walk away from the promised land. That's it. So he didn't need ships to take them back into literal Egypt. So we know it wasn't literal Egypt. It was into bondage again, this time with ships. And by way, since I'm speaking to you here in the promised land, you won't see this no more. By the way whereof I spake unto thee. In the place where I spoke to you about this, which was in the promised land, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold. Where? Not in the promised land, in that faraway Egypt, in that land of bondage. Ye shall be sold unto your, look who you're going to be sold to, your enemies. You're going to be sold unto your enemies. You see, the whole civil rights movement tried to make them bastards your friends. Tried to get you to see them as friend. One day, the son of the former slave and the son of the former slave owner gonna sit down at the table of brotherhood. You a goddamn lie. No, you're not. You see how that worked for you, Christian? Ask George Floyd how that worked. Ask Tamir Rice how that worked. Ask countless other so-called African Americans who lost their lives at the hand of the police. How did that work, sitting at the table of brotherhood with the son of a former slave owner? The Most High never told us to do that. He said, thou shalt see it, say, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more, and there ye shall be sold to your enemies. To your enemies. To your enemies. The people who held you in slavery are your enemies. Black man and woman, so-called. Mexican man and woman, Native American man and woman, so-called. These are your enemies. The Most High said you would be sold to your enemies. How can you ever make a friend out of somebody who the Most High has declared to be your enemy? How stupid do you have to be, or how brainwashed do you have to be to go against the Most High power of Israel and declare them to be friends who he has declared to be enemies? Let me show you what your friends done for you, because it's them you going to trying to get equality. You protesting to them, right? Let me keep reading. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen, slave men, and bondwomen, slave women, and no man shall buy you. Nobody, no human being will be able to get you out of that condition which the Most High power of Israel placed you in for your disobedience. The Lord put you in this situation. Only the Lord can get you out of this situation. Okay? He said, and no man shall buy you. Let's take a look at the record. There was a fella by the name of Nat Turner that decided he's going to free the slaves and do what he was going to do when he went around killing white people. He killed about 60 of them. Then they caught him and killed him. Didn't work. The rebellions didn't flare up in America, and so far you are still enslaved. Not too far after that, because we got a short history, a couple of 100 years, 400 years. Sometime after that, what? They put black people in office, call it so-called Reconstruction, and they killed all of them, chased them down. They incorporated what, Jim Crow laws. Even your police force that you have today. Let me show you why your police force is so hard on you. Because they were the original slave catchers. Your police force today, as you understand it, originated as slave catchers. They were created to catch niggas. They were created to catch runaway niggas, non-compliant niggas. Niggas who wouldn't go along with Esau's program. To catch them and to return them to captivity. That was their job. Now today we call them the police department, the sheriff's department. You see that? The state police. All these folks was created to capture niggas. So that's why they don't have a problem killing you. Shit, even now they're looking for situations where they can kill you. Now, if you think this is the only scripture, no man shall buy you, it's telling you that no matter who he is, Martin King, he can be Martin Lawrence for all I care. He can be Malcolm X, don't care who he is. Marcus Garvey, don't care who he is. We don't care who he is. He can be anybody. The Most High don't care who he is. No man is going to be able to pull you out of this captivity, out of this slavery. No man shall buy you. Let me show you why. Because we are, as a people, we are about as dumb as a box of rocks. Let's go to Ezekiel. Let's pick up Ezekiel. Check out chapter 3. And we're going to start around verse 5. Make it verse 4. And he said unto me, Son of man, go, get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them. That means the Most High is sending Ezekiel to talk to Israel. Now I want you to listen to this. I want you to listen to this well, okay? All you non-believers of the Bible, listen to this. All you Christians and Muslims, listen to this. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech. He's telling Ezekiel, you're not going to a people with a strange speech. And of a hard language, but to the house of Israel. In other words, you're not going to somebody who's not Israel. You're going to Israel, Israel only. Verse 6, not too many people of a strange speech and of a hard language, whose words thou canst not understand. You see that? Surely, had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee. That's a cut on you, Israel. If the Most High has sent his prophets to what? To Esau? To Lot's children? To Cush's children? You see that? To Ham's children? The Most High is saying, had I sent you to them, they would have listened. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee. This is why you're in the condition you are right now, black man and woman, Hispanic man and woman, so-called Native American man and woman. But the house of Israel, this is verse 7, Ezekiel 3, verse 7. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. This is the Most High speaking. He telling the prophet, they ain't gonna listen to you. Well, hell, they not even listening to me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. You don't give a damn, and you just don't give a damn. It's all about your own enjoyment. It's about how you see it. It's about your own emotions. The whole house, for all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. Except for who? Priests, prophets of the Most High that's in this truth. Because regardless of what I feel, it's about these laws, statutes, commandments. And that's what we go by. But you out there Your feelings tell you, let's try this social experiment here. You go for that, it doesn't work. Well, let's try this over here. You go for that, it doesn't work. Nothing works. Islam doesn't work. Christianity doesn't work. Christianism doesn't work. You only got one way out. You in this condition because you did not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. And today, you still doing the same thing. All right, let's look at Hosea. You think it's just a few scriptures? Let's look at Hosea. And we're going to go to Hosea chapter 8. Verse 4. But let's go to verse 1. Let's make sure we get the concept. Set the trumpet to thy mouth. This is Hosea 8 and 1. Set the trumpet to thy mouth. You know, that means an alarm is getting ready to be blown. If you tell him to set the trumpet, that's an alarm is getting ready to be blown. He shall come as an eagle against the house of the Lord. Look at here. Look at here. He shall come who? As an eagle. Who came against the house of the Lord's eagle? United States. Rome. Greece. The United States. Against the house of the Lord. You know, they put us in slavery, right? And what's their symbol? Their symbol is the eagle, okay? Because they have transgressed my covenant. Why did the United States in 1609 and England and all them put us in slavery? Because they have transgressed my covenant and transpassed against my law. You can't get away from it. Black man and woman, Hispanic man and woman, Native American man and woman. This is why. Verse 2, Israel shall cry unto me, my God, we know thee. Verse 3, Israel hath cast off the thing that is good. The enemy shall pursue him. That's why we are pursued to our brokenness. Verse 4 is a clear-cut example. They have set up kings, but not by me. They have made princes, and I knew it not. For their silver and their gold have they made them idols. Of their silver and their gold have they made them idols, that they may be cut off. This is how we was guaranteed to get cut off. Worshiping that wooden cross and that cobblestone over in Mecca. That crescent moon and that star in Islam. When we begin to do those things, we set ourselves to be cut off from the Most High, meaning to be cut off from Him exercising His power to defend us. He don't have to. He can still defend us if He wants to. You see, He came to the rescue of a whole bunch of Black, Hispanic, and Native American babies when He took abortion out of America. See, He can still come to our aid. But because we not just stumbling into sin, man, we knee deep into this garbage. We look to sin. We trying to hold on to it. We clutching to it as a people. And the Most High is tired of you. He's talking to you now through these priests and prophets, telling you the truth of these scriptures. I'm telling you, look these scriptures up for yourself. I know your pastor didn't tell you this, but this is what the Bible says. They have set up kings, but not by me. Y'all loved Obama, didn't y'all? Y'all love, I'm not getting on you that hard. I wasn't in the truth when Obama was running, and so therefore I loved him too. But now I know how terrible, mistaken I was. And what I do, I crossed that line, put on it all black, and came into this truth. And I can tell you honestly, the only thing Obama gave black people was the right for men to marry men, women to marry women. That's it. That's it. Gave them an open door to take over the Black Lives Matter movement. That's it. That's all Obama gave you. Another step to be further away from the Most High. And since Obama, a bunch of you young brothers have turned gay, homosexual. And watch this. I'm not putting anybody down, but the Bible speaks against it. The Bible says it's not to happen. The Bible says there's a death penalty on it. The Most High put a death penalty on that. You see that? The Most High did that. Not Commander General Yohana. Not the generals, not the captains, not the officers, not the ISUPK. The Most High said they both should be put to death. It's an abomination. That's in the Bible. That's in the Bible. They have set up kings, but not of me. Look at here. You got Kamala Harris set up as what? You got Obama set up as the first black president. Well, he was the first African-American president, but he ain't black if you're talking about black and being an Israelite. That he's not. He's not an Israelite. You see that? But you set him king up over you, and you applauded him, and you bowed to him and scraped to him because he married an Israelite woman. But that Israelite woman produced him Hamite children. You see that? And you're still doing the same thing. You set up Kamala Harris, talking about she's the first black woman, the first woman, and happened to be black, that she's the vice president. First woman in the Oval Office, well, in the White House. And y'all said she's black, but she's not. For her father's side is a line of Irishmen. You see that? Irish. She's Irish. And her melanated skin comes from her mother's side, who is a East Indian that was dumped there. You see that? In East India. So she's not black at all. But y'all go for it. See, and you're making the same mistakes, and you set these people up kings over you. Your silver and your gold, your riches, you turn them into idols. You see that? And that is upsetting the Most High. I hear people right now, in that documentary, if I'd have let it play a little longer, right, the lady would have told you that the answer to all that modern day COINTELPRO stuff is to what? Contact your representative in Washington. In other words, vote. In other words, get involved in their politics. In other words, set up another king over you using their vote. Are you crazy? Hosea 8:4, they have set up kings, but not by me. The Most High didn't tell us to vote. He said, if you set a king over you, let it be one of your brothers. These folks no kin to us. We got no business voting in their politics. When we do stuff like that, guess what? We keep the Most High at bay as far as it comes to pleading in our cause, to helping our cause. We are remaining disobedient. Even you know how to discipline a disobedient child. Even you know how to do that. You see that? Even you know how, and that's all the Most High is doing. And you're going to destroy yourself if you don't come back into this truth. You think I'm joking? Let's check out Isaiah 30:1. You're doing this. The problem is you're trying to get out of your hell any way you possibly can. You're thinking up all types of reasons. You're on social media putting big think tanks together and all of that. I've seen one say in real life is blackly black this, blackly black that. You got all types of intellectual groups out here. Slovakia. Some religious, some social scientists, all types of intellectual, groups. You got the blackity black say doing this. You got some saying you ought to be Egyptians. You got others that want to make you Arabs. You got other ones that say you just a dog, good old American. You got all types of ways that is presented to you to get you out of this hell. But none of them have worked in the past. None of them will work in the future. Let's find out why. Isaiah 30:1. That's the book of Isaiah in the Old Testament. Chapter 30, beginning with verse 1. It say woe. It begins with the word woe. That means destruction. The word woe in biblical terms means destruction. Woe to a person, destruction to that person. This says, woe to the rebellious children. When you say rebellious children, it's talking about none other than Israel. Saith the Lord, that take counsel. Okay, here we go. That take counsel, but not of me. And that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. That sounds like he's saying, look, man, y'all listen to everybody but the Most High. And you putting on a garment of protection from this ideology, that ideology, but it's not of the Most High. And when you do this, you add sin to sin. Think about it. You all messed up mentally because your oppressor did what they did to us in slavery. And you think it's the right thing to do to ask your oppressor how to overcome these mental demons that came on us as a result of their treatment of us. You think the oppressor is the most intelligent person to ask. That's right, dumb. Dumb, dumb, dumb. There's been those who's referred to our existence in this country as that of a sexual abuse victim. And they're not far wrong. We suffer the same consequences. One, Stockholm Syndrome. That's almost like it's mass in America among blacks. A mass suffering of Stockholm Syndrome to varying degrees. Slovakia, to varying degrees, we suffer, all of us suffer from Stockholm Syndrome. You see that? You see something happen and we feel a little bit better about it when it comes to white people than we do about our own people. That's Stockholm Syndrome. When it's the oppressor is the one that beat us down, put us in chains, and gave us all these hellish conditions that we live in. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me. We're taking counsel of everybody. This brother got a degree in social work. Okay, we'll listen to him. This brother got a degree in real estate. We'll listen to him. This brother got a track record in flipping houses. We'll listen to him. This sister, she got a track record in selling hair care products. We'll listen to her. This brother here, he's from the ISUPK Boston, and He's happened to be visiting Chicago. He got something to say. We're not going to listen to that nigga. Oh, but this fella here, him and his wife, you know, they've been into the spiritual game about 15 years, and they tarot card readers. We'll listen to them. We'll listen to Oprah. We'll listen to Gail. We'll listen to Peter Jennings. Whoever else on TV. We'll listen to them. But when the priest and the prophet of the Most High steps up and begin to speak, then we close our ears. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me. The counsel is out here. The priests are lifting up their trumpets and they're warning Israel and they're telling Israel about their sin, but Israel is not listening. Israel got their fingers in their ears saying, don't tell us we are Israel. We don't want to hear that we are Israel. Why? So they can feel comfortable continuing in their sin. To accept that you are Israel means you have to accept that you are required under the penalty of death to keep the law, statute, and commandments of the Most High. How about that? How about that? The wages of sin is death. Sin is transgression of the law. Under the penalty of death, if you recognize that you're an Israelite, if you come to accept that you're an Israelite, then you also have to come to accept that you are required by the scripture to keep the law, statute, and commandments of the Most High under penalty of death. You got that? Woe to the rebellious children, destruction to the rebellious children. You won't listen to the priests and prophets of the Most High telling you to get into this ISUPK. You put it in your search engine. Put it in your phone. ISUPK, your city. Your city. And then give them brothers a call. Go down to the school and learn this Bible for real, what the Bible really says. That take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. How are they adding sin to sin? One, they're already suffering from, they're already sinning because they're doing what? They're eating shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster. They're dishonoring the Sabbath. They're stealing from their brother. They are covering their brother's everything. All types of ways we're sinning as a people. And how do they add sin to that? By going into these Christian churches and practicing other stuff. Christian church tell you got to keep Christmas. The Bible says Christmas is idol worship and the sin. The Christian church tell you got to keep Easter. The Bible tell you Easter is idol worship and it's a sin. The Christian church tell you keep Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day. The Christian church tell you that. The Bible tell you those are all sin because they're worshiping other gods. You want to know why you messed up? Because you keep sinning. You're listening to everybody. You're trying every way to get out of this hill other than the straight and narrow way. Other than the straight and narrow way. Let's take a look at Ezekiel. We went to Ezekiel, okay? Just go to Isaiah 3. How about that? Isaiah 3. And just start at verse 8. For Jerusalem is in ruin and Judah is fallen because their tongue and their doings are against the Lord, to provoke the eyes of his glory. That's why Jerusalem found itself in ruin. That's why you in ruin for doing the same thing. For doing the exact same thing. Listen, for Jerusalem is ruined and Judah is fallen because their tongue, what come out of your mouth, and their doings, what you do with your hands, are against the Lord. Sisters, do you know when you battle tooth and nail against a brother having more than one wife, that you're battling against the Lord? Also, sisters, do you know when you sitting up here buying that nonsense that you can get rid of your zero, get you another man, a hero, and now you end up with two babies and two baby daddies? Do you know you are fighting against the Lord? What you're doing is against the Lord. The Most High tell you, sisters, watch this. Y'all don't want to hear this. I know y'all don't want to hear this, right? But I want you to think about this. Think about this, sisters, with your single mother being behind. Think about this. The scriptures say that a woman, when she's married, she is to be with that man until the day he dies. As long as he's alive, she is held by the law. The day he died, the law no longer has an effect on her. Until the day he dies. If you sleep with someone else before he dies, it's called adultery. So think about it. You get with this man, you sleep with him, you get pregnant, you have his baby, and now you got the state on your side to squeeze him for some child support or whatever, right? And you start squeezing him and he's tired of your bad attitude, and so he leaves you alone. Well, now you're getting lonely, and what you do, I mean, he didn't beat you up or nothing, he just stopped answering all your calls so quickly. He still come by to see about his child. He still pay you your child support money. He's just not so enthused to be dealing with you. So now you lonely. And what you do? You find you a hero. Because the church said you ain't got to deal with this zero. The second you lay down with that other man, you have committed a deadly sin. It's called adultery. And if that man, that first baby daddy, want to put you away, he can put you away. And no man is supposed to marry you. The only reason a woman can be divorced by an Israelite man is for adultery. Or should I say, adultery or fornication, unlawful sex. And sisters, y'all are having the most unlawful sex. How do I know? Because y'all got all these babies and y'all having these babies by the same fellas. Just think about it. You have one baby, that proves that you got a husband, you had a husband. Then you have another baby, but it's by a different man. The husband is not this baby's daddy. That's proved now that you are doing what whores do. You're sleeping around. You're committing sexual sins. After that first man you lay with, until you get a husband, you need to come in here to this truth if you want that reproachfulness to get up off you. Because that's unacceptable. That's disapproved of. They keep asking questions on social media. Should a man accept a woman who has multiple baby daddies? That's a hard question. Who wants you? You got a propensity to sleep with different men. And then you got the offspring of different men. These children constantly are a testimony that you sleep with other men while your husband is still alive. I know you want me to say these are bundles of love created out of this glorious love. No, they're proof that you have no problem breaking the laws and statutes and commandments of the Most High. Every single, except for the first, well, can't even say that. Just about every single mother in our community has committed sexual sin against the Most High, have sinned against the Most High sexually. How do we know? Because this baby daddy's still living, and this baby is the oldest, but you got 3 more baby daddies. One of the things that the prophets were warned against was whoredom moving into Israel. And now we see what that looks like. You want to know why you're still in this condition? Because you hold on to garbage like that, what the Christian church teaches you. The Christian church has taught you to be a whore. When that preacher didn't check you and you came in there pregnant without a husband, he gave you license to be a whore. And if you got more than one baby daddy, then you've used your license. You've exercised what they gave you the ability to do. I know it's hard to listen to, but these are the very reasons we are still in captivity. Because our people are hard-hearted. We stiff-necked. We're trying to tell you the truth. The reason nothing you're going to work out there in social media, nothing that you're going to work in social science, politics, religion, nothing is going to work for you except coming back to these laws, statutes, commandments of the Most High through the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under commanding General Yohana. You want to try everything else? Then go ahead. I advise you not to. But if you want to try everything else, that it might be the truth that frees you, then help yourself. But let me give you a little warning. All that soothsayer shit ain't it. Them cards, them horoscopes, them palm readers, them candles, them sprays, them readers, them spiritualists, none of that garbage is it. That's garbage. It's all garbage. You see that? It's all garbage. But historically, you doing those things, you trying those things, are the reason you're still in slavery. And you know what? I'm going to get ready to bring this to the close. I got one more scripture. There should have been a sense of shame when I mentioned that spread throughout all of Israel. When I mentioned if you're a single mother and you got 2 or 3 different baby daddies, that is a testimony to your whorishness. That's right. That's a testimony to how much of a whore you have been. Each one of your babies got a different daddy, and you have not stuck with one man yet as ordered by the Most High in his law, statute, and commandments. So watch this. While you up here flexing, well, let's go to the scripture. Isaiah 3, verse 16. Moreover, the Lord saith, because this is Isaiah 3, verse 16. Moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty. I mean, you're prideful. And walk with stretched forth necks. Prideful. You really into yourself. And wanton eyes. Yeah, you look at everything sexually. Nowadays, you can't even say hello. Some woman think you trying to have sex with her. Good morning. She thinks you trying to have sex with her. That's the wanton eyes. All that stuff that's going on in her brain. I say that all the time when I'm talking with certain sisters that, I hear what you're saying, sister, I feel for you, but that shit you're talking right there, the only place that is happening is in your brain. Moreover, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go and making a tinkling with their feet, anything to attract attention to themselves. They're walking like, look, they stuff don't stink. They're walking like they do don't stink, like they got it going on, and this is the way it's going to be forever. But they better pay attention. Therefore, the Lord will smite thee with a scab. Can you say, with a scab? Salakia. Therefore, the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. Can you say, I guess they call it stress alopecia or something. We've been telling y'all for at least the last 5 years I know of, get the hell out these weeds, but no, y'all want to keep somebody else's hair on top of your head and all of that. And so now a lot of you are suffering from this particular type of alopecia that leaves you with scabs and baldness. Verse 18, in that day the Lord will take away the bravery of the tinkling. And some of you are starting to feel it. Some of you are starting to feel it. Something on social media the other night. Should a man defend a masculine spirited woman? Something like that. And a lot of brothers are saying, hell no, she got herself out there. She want to be out there like a man, let her deal with it like a man. In that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of your tinkling ornaments about your feet. In other words, you ain't going to be so loud. You ain't going to be so prideful. It's coming. It's coming. Because these demons are starting to drop y'all sisters like the police been dropping brothers. These demons coming for y'all. Hold on, I ain't finished. And their cars and their round tires like the moon. The chains and the bracelets and the mufflers. You see what I'm saying? Back. This is what the Lord is going to take away. He's going to take away the tinkling of the ornaments. He's going to take away their cars. He's going to take away the round tires like moons. He's going to take, and a lot of this is metaphor. Chains and bracelets and mufflers, the bonnets, the ornaments of they're going to take away everything they do to cause themselves to look good. The Most High is going to take that away. The changeable suits. He's taking away all of that. None of that going to mean anything. Verse 23, the glasses and the fine linen and the hoods. And it shall come to pass, verse 24, that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of well-set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. It's going to take all of this, watch this, for you to become shamefaced again, sisters, and that is so sorry. That's why we appreciate the sisters in the truth who understand that their strength is in what? Obeying the law, statute, commandments of the Most High. You sisters think your strength is because you can talk loud and long, that you can declare something loud and because you feel real good about it, right? You want this thing to happen, that it is going to happen. You're delusional. That it's the truth. You're delusional. You're delusional. Oh, I'm good with the Bible, but my man can't have no second wife. You're delusional. Because even with that, it's going to be, if he gives in to you not wanting him to have a second wife, it won't be long before you complain about he's spending too much time at camp on Saturdays. Then if he give in to that, then you're not going to want him to attend scripture breakdown on Thursday. And then if he give in to that, it's like, why you going to any of them classes anyway? They ain't doing nothing for us. And if he give in to that, baby, won't you go? We need to give us a dime. Right back, there you go. See how you lead him into sin? So sisters, since you're going by on your own brain, that's between you and the Lord now. You see that? You don't want to listen. Time has come when you either listen to the prophets of the Most High or you're going to pay the consequences. If a prophet tell you this is it, then that's it. And I'm talking about a prophet out of this ISUPK, no other camp. We're not affiliated with any other camp. Stop being whores, sisters. You got 3 babies, you got 3 baby daddies. You close your legs. Close your legs. Stop having sex. Get your behind in the school and get born again. Get baptized under this real teaching of what's in the Bible. Get washed by the word. Everything that you've been taught by the Christian church is a lie. Everything you've been taught by the Muslim is a lie. Everything. Every single thing. You ought to throw it all away and come into the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, the only place in the earth where the truth of the Bible is taught. You see that? And that's your only way out. That is your only way out. Everything else you try will fail. The daughters of Zion is coming. Their turn is coming up for the Lord to make an example of them. You see that? Their turn is coming up for the Lord to make an example of them. And he's starting to. I've never seen so many sisters with hair problems. And y'all got them. Y'all got them. But my thing is, like, why can't you see how you pissing the Lord off? I listen to you sisters on different social media platforms, and almost to a woman is a very small minority that don't mind if her husband has a second wife, or at least is open to it. Very small minority. Everybody else is ready to start a war. But you do know that the Most High made this happen. The Most High allowed this, see? And so you're not upset with your husband because he may want another woman. You upset with the Lord for saying it's okay for him to have another woman. That's what you're really pissed off about. And because you pissed off about that one thing, you try to destroy all of Israel, beginning with your own household. Because while you would rail about your baby daddy having another baby mama somewhere, you end up with 2 more baby daddies, and now of the 3 baby daddies, none of them really putting anything into you. They're not building with you. They're not bringing you to the Most High. They left you out there wet. They left you out there wet and nasty. That's what they've done. When if you have to just, come into the ISUPK, study this word, and find out what it is a sister must do. If she does have a baby daddy who's her husband that does not believe, how do you deal with that? Do you leave him? You got to come in here and find out. How do you deal with that? Do you start doing the sinful things he do? You got to come in here and find out. Well, I'm going to say both of them. No, you shouldn't leave him, and you shouldn't start doing the sinful things he does. But if you want to know what you need to do, what you should be doing, come in here. ISUPK, your town. ISUPK, your state. Google it. Put it in your browser. Look it up. Call the number. Talk to the brothers. And learn these laws, statutes, and commandments. You want to know why you're on the bottom? You're on the bottom because you constantly breaking the law, statute, commandments of the Most High. You see that? That's why you're on the bottom. Sisters, he says he's tired of y'all. He's tired. He's coming at y'all. I want to refer you to one last thing, and that is Judith 5:20. I'm not going to quote it. But the fact is, the other nations know that you only have one way out. Judith 5:20 is proof of that. The other nations know that as long as you sin against your God, they can laugh at you, because your God is not going to come to your defense. You understand? As long as you sin against the Most High power of Israel, we're going to remain in this. We are going to remain in this captivity. You see that? But when enough of us have latched on, then Yahweh shall be back, and your grace period is over. You'll be counted among the heathen and off with your head too. You see that, Israel? We're begging you right now to drop what you're doing in Christianity and run into the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge and learn who you really are. Learn how to really love God and know that the Most High loves you. Learn who your God is. They call you a nigger, don't worry. You belong to the nigger God. But you got to let go of that nonsense that you've learned from the soothsayers and the card readers and the number readers and the bone readers and all that witchcraft. You got to let it go. All that witchcraft, you got to let it go. Christianity, witchcraft. Islamism, witchcraft. Buddhism, witchcraft. It's all witchcraft. All of it. I don't care what Christian church you go to, what denomination you claim. It's all garbage. It's all trash. Let it all go. Remember, you're only in captivity now because you continue to sin against the Most High. We got here because our fathers sinned against the Most High. We're stuck here because we sin against the Most High. You want to get out of this hell. If you want to get out of this hell, contact ISUPK, your city or your state. The ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge in your city or state, and come and study the truth of the Bible with us. We're talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, so-called that is. So-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans. They can come. If you're an Elamite, or if you're a Hamite, or any of the other nations, there's no need to come. You're not going to get through the door. We're not going to let you in, okay? No need to come. We're concerned about our people understanding the law, statute, commandments of the Most High, as written in the King James 1611 edition of the Bible. And black folks, there's your history. Because you continue to disobey the Most High, you will continue to find yourself under these curses, and they will follow you continually and keep you destroyed. You know you are the children of Israel because these curses are only on you. They're not on anybody else. They are only on the house of Israel. And so you got the key to looking around and finding Israel. That's the only reason these curses are here. If you want them lifted, come back, to the law, statute, and commandments of the Most High. With that, we're going to say Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shabbat. Thumb to my brothers. Yahweh Shema Alathan Bahashem Yahweh Shah to my sisters. Shalom.